Recently, my husband and I, our ministry and our crew, have had the opportunity and the privilege to minister to a group that is called the 99 Ministry. And the reason it is called the 99 is referring to how Jesus would leave the 99 to go out and save the one lost sheep. The people that were involved in starting it wanted everyone to know that they're not alone and that the Lord is in pursuit of each and every one of them. In the time that we ministered there most recently, there was a gentleman that I prayed for, and by looking at him, he seemed to have lived a rough life. And it was unclear to me how much of that lifestyle had been changed at that time. And as I prayed for him, the Holy Spirit moved in my heart, and a strength rose up in me. I like to describe it as the mama bear with one of her cubs. And I looked in his eyes and I said to him, "Don't you give up on yourself. Don't you quit." And as I looked at him, I saw that it touched him deeply and that he was moved because I believe that he was of an age where he might have just accepted his life and his lifestyle and just said, "That's it. This is who I am and this is who I will always be." Now, I know that there are many people out there listening right now that can identify with a story like that. Maybe they feel like they've tried religion at some point, or maybe they feel that they're just too far gone. Maybe they look at a lifestyle with Jesus and immediately think about the friends and the habits and perhaps the addictions that they might have to lay down. Maybe for them it just seems like all too much. But what I can tell you is that my husband and I have witnessed the miraculous. We have seen literally before and after pictures, lives that go beyond what we could have ever hoped or imagined in the life of an individual. And so we know absolutely that there is no one beyond hope. There is no one who's too old or too broken or too wounded or too frightened to accept a life with Jesus that will bring them in to the satisfaction and the peace, the contentment and the joy, the love that they've been looking for, maybe all of their lives. There was another young man that I prayed for, and I remember it so clearly. I said to him that the Lord was impressing on me that he had been told that his father was a mess up and his grandfather was a mess up and that he was a mess up. And he had embraced that and identified with that so much that it took him into a life of gang membership and prison. And so he was fulfilling the words that were spoken over him and following in the footsteps of past generations, not knowing, not seeing, not believing that Jesus would have died for him, even if he were the only one. I love to be amongst people who know that they have a need and are not embarrassed or ashamed to admit that. They know because they've tried to get it right. They've tried to make something good of themselves or their lives. And it seems to them as if all of their best efforts have failed. I cannot think of too many people that we have worked with over the years, that we have loved, that came to a place of surrender, a willingness to accept Jesus because their life was going so brilliantly, because they were so happy and they were so fulfilled. Most people turn to him because they've run out of options, because they are so tired of hurting. They are so tired of being lonely and afraid, depressed, living in darkness, full of rage. They're the ones that when they are presented with the love of Jesus, who are willing to admit that they need his help. The harder audience that we have dealt with, the more difficult group to actually reach and minister to, are the comfortable. Sometimes they're the religious, the ones who live their sin in secret, as if they've got it all together. They've said the prayer, they've been baptized and filled with the Holy Spirit, and yet they do not recognize their desperate need for more of him to find freedom. Jesus is about the whole person. He cares deeply, not just about what you do for him, but who you are on the inside. He cares about the sleepless nights because you're filled with anxiety, because you're overthinking every step, not wanting to disappoint people, not wanting to find yourself in a pit again. He cares about each moment of each day, every day of our lives. And so, regardless of where you are right now, maybe you're someone who knows that you've made a mess of things. You've made a mess of your marriage. You've made a mess of your relationship with your children. Or maybe you're someone who's hearing this and you think you've got it all together. You think that you're comfortable. You're doing this. You don't need any help. I encourage you to look to the Lord, to ask Him to show you where it is you need to go, who it is that you need to see in order to fully surrender so that you can embrace the life that He has for you. Don't you want to know what your life would look like? Don't you want to know who you would be if you really gave Him your yes? If you really became willing to ask Him into your heart and into every area of your life. Isaiah 60 verse 1 says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." It's time for something new. It's time for something beautiful. It's time to return to your first love. It's time to believe that with God, all things are possible. No matter who you are, no matter what you've done, no matter where you are right now, a new life in Him is yours, free for the asking.